We moved to a school in Tennessee specifically because of the curriculum, the virtues, the belief systems of that school. It's a small, conservative, classical Christian rural school that reinforces our values. And we moved from New Jersey, where there were lots of wonderful people. Like states like that get a bad rap, but there's full of a lot of like faithful, conservative patriots. But, you know, the state of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, who famously said that the Bill of Rights is above his pay grade. So he just doesn't really think about it. He said that about COVID, but he's an idiot. They passed a bill recently that said gender identity training, which eventually turns out to be gender fluidity and trans stuff, is mandated in all government schools starting in first grade. And I say government schools intentionally. They're not public schools. They're government schools. Sure, they may be open to the public in that sense, but the government is setting the tone. And I run into people all the time. I mean, you're dialed in, and so you've made that choice to homeschool, but there are a lot of dudes just like us who are like, hey, I pay property taxes. You know, I work hard. We move to a nice area that say the schools are good. We moved here for the schools that feel like local control will say, even here in Tennessee, where, hey, I've got a good school. Good means, you know, a fancy gym and an iPad and, you know, high SAT scores. And those are all fine things. What I want to know is what's being pumped into the minds of those kids. And what you realize when you pull the curtain back over 100 years is the entire pipeline of our education system has been federalized intentionally. And taken over not just by like lefties or technocrats or bureaucrats. Everyone you meet through that timeline who's pushing hard on the shoulder on the plow of education is an atheist, a Marxist, or a socialist, or a humanist. A lot of them are humanists, which is
what's a humanist?
Humanist is basically completely rejects Christianity or faith at all. And so it's all humanity is at the center of good and evil, right and wrong. It's effectively secularism posited as an alternative religion to Christianity. Oh. So it'll find politics as an avenue. And so humanists are often socialists or Marxists or communists alongside being a humanist. But it's the worship of mankind as the highest being, as opposed to God as the highest being. So they're all that's the train of people pushing this educational philosophy. And I used to think it started in the 60s. It actually goes back to the progressive era and even before that. But they very intentionally, the one thing they knew they had to remove from the beginning was God. God had to come out of the schools because God was the immovable object that prevented their utopian schemes. They wanted, if you want to manipulate children, if you want to change the way they think, rewire the relationship of families, you have to get at the God thing because the garden and the sin in the garden is all disrupts those utopian schemes. And so the early progressives, communists, Marxists, very intentionally worked hard in creating systems that slowly but surely removed God. Because if you went into a public school, government school in America,